Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk a little bit about Social Security claiming and how you can use that to grow your business, whether it's via radio, via seminars, via just knowledge and working with your current clientele. So, a lot of great information here today from the coach, Dave Pimper. We've got a lot of folks on the line, and so I want to get through what I call kind of our commercials here fairly quickly and get on to Dave. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Steve Murray. I'm the president here of Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Dave and I do kind of some regular webinars every Tuesday at 10 a.m. and sometimes on Friday about 10 a.m. as well. They're designed in general to help you get a better feel for approaches from a sales and marketing standpoint to grow your business. So sometimes we talk about radio, sometimes we talk about seminars, sometimes we'll talk about business coaching. Here we're going to talk today about why Social Security is so important to you when you're working with current clients and how it can help increase prospects and how you can use it in the seminar and radio setting to grow your business. So here we go here today. Looking forward to a great webinar with y'all. And I know we've got a lot of folks with us here this morning that are relatively new to IAMS or maybe considering joining IAMS. So I want to make sure you're aware of our new producer builders. So these are all incentives, generally speaking, designed to help you grow your business, to reward you for your business. So the rewards might be cash or an iPad or a trip with you and your guest to a Ritz-Carlton for a weekend. The business builders might be assistance with seminars, assistance with radio, assistance with your digital package, media outlets, or building your brand. There's a lot of different things that we do, and you can see them all before you on the screen, which is great. What I want you to know in general is that if whatever you're doing or whatever you would like to do or think might work for you to help you grow your business, we want to participate in that and help you along the way. So you might see something here that strikes your fancy and you might say, that's exactly what I need, or you might know something else that you would rather use. That's great too. Certainly just let your sales director know what you're thinking, and let's get together and see how IAMS can be a partner and help you in growing your business. We do have a couple of programs that are designed to put some money in your hands for things that you do in conjunction with IAMS. So there's the marketing reimbursement program, which is really straightforward. Whenever you do business with IAMS, money goes in your marketing reimbursement account. Whatever advertising and marketing that you do, we can help you kind of by matching that dollar for dollar. So you can kind of double the power of your marketing dollars. We also have an RPM program, and these checks are getting to be quite large, which I love. Love to send these checks out to our producers. What we do is, and we've been doing this for the past 6-7 years now, is that we pay you a bonus based on any referral that you send our way. So if somebody, a colleague, whatever you think might benefit from our services, you call up your sales director and say, hey, give Tom a call or send an email and say, hey, this is a guy or gal I think you want to get in touch with. We'll put your name in the system as a referrer, and then as they do business, you can see that we put a bonus in the system and we pay those out generally quarterly. Some of those now, more and more of them go out monthly. If they get to be over a grand or so on a given month, we're going to go ahead and send that check out to you. Otherwise, we're going to send them out to you quarterly. And so that can add up to some pretty good dollars, and you don't do anything. You don't have any liability. It doesn't hurt your referee at all. We give them all the same benefits and programs that you have available. So it's just a way for us to reward you for the way that we've grown our business for years and years, which is via referral. So if you have someone in mind, a colleague you think might benefit from any of the services that we provide, give your sales director a call, let them know, and make sure we get them in the system as a referral from you. So great back office support here at IAMS. I'm not going to spend much time on this because the folks on board that do business with us already know it. And those of you that have not done business with us are not going to believe it until you see it. But I will tell you that we've got among the best service that you've ever experienced in this business. It's game changing, business changing for you. It takes a lot of stuff off your plate and puts it onto our plate and lets you do what you do best, which is sell. We have one of the things that we do here, which has been a really nice addition and timely with the pandemic situation, is we have on our system a single sign-on for Firelight. Firelight is the e-app solution for annuities and some life insurance as well. The key to having a single sign-on is that any carrier that you do business with, you can just come to the IAMS website and get any carrier. So for instance, if you're doing business with Equitrust and Athene on the same client, you go into Firelight, put it in as an e-app on Firelight for Equitrust, then just do a cut and paste to move most of that information off to the Athene app, so you don't have to fill it out twice. Your client doesn't have to go through it twice in general with you. Then you send them an email and you say, hey, here's the application that we spoke about. Here's a way to e-signature it. Makes their life very easy, really a very professional image for you, and makes your life a lot easier to not have to go from website to website to website. So call your sales director and say, hey, really interested in getting on the Firelight system, the single sign-on Firelight system. Literally, it takes 3 minutes to register on our website so that you can then go in and use that system. So take advantage of that if you're not already. Creative marketing team, just think of it this way, and I'm not going to dwell here. You could see some of the services they provide, but think of our creative solution teams as your advertising firm, and think of your advertising firm as one that's going to do a lot of work on a pro bono basis, works with people specifically in your business only. And so has a lot of already ready-made stuff and some great ideas, and is going to a lot of the business that they do for you is going to be done and handled by marketing reimbursement. So we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of stuff to build your image, build your brand, and make you look very professional with your clients, make you look like the professional that you are at very low and efficient pricing. So take advantage of your advertising team here at IAMS. Call your marketing, your sales director, and just say, hey, what can your team on this creative side do for me to help me grow my business? I'll give you a couple quick ideas out of the gate, talk with you a little bit about what you're looking for, maybe put you in touch with one of the folks on that team, and we'll get you rolling. Great website. If you haven't looked at it, I would encourage you to do so. That's where you go. For instance, if you want to do a Firelight app, we've got a great sales resource library with literally thousands of documents you can use for all kinds of things and great sales ideas and great sales tips. That's under the resources on our support on our website. All the forms are out there. The term and life quoter is out there for you to make your life easier. There's a link to a MedSup quoter, so you can go and see what the best MedSup price is in your area. A lot of great stuff out there. So if you haven't already looked at the website, I would encourage you to do so. Retirement Analyzer is a great software piece. If you're not using something like this, where you can basically graphically put in some information, graphically show your client where they're long and short on their retirement plans for the future, where they're going to end up, given very realistic parameters, then you're selling yourself short, you're selling your relationship with the client short. And is this something that you would use all the time on every client? Probably not. But might you use it on some of your A, B, and C clients to help build that relationship? And the beautiful thing is the Retirement Analyzer is probably the best of those programs, the easiest to use, the most comprehensive that I've seen out there, and we're going to make it available to you at no cost. So the way that we take advantage of that is you call Marcus up here in our office. Marcus is one of our sales directors, but he specializes in the Retirement Analyzer. Call him up, say, hey, Marcus, give me a sign on for that, and do one on yourself. Do a retirement analysis on yourself, or pick out one of your best clients so you have a lot of information already in your file on them, and do a retirement analyzer so you can see what it looks like and see how beneficial that might be to your client. It should be a great way to build relationships. And again, when you're with IAMS, doing business with IAMS, we're going to make that available to you at no cost. That's a savings to you of about $70-$80 a month. We had a great wealth management team. If you're looking at getting your Series 65, call them up. Or talk to your sales director and say, hey, I'm interested in moving my 65. If you're unhappy with your RIA because their fees are too high, the payouts are too low, definitely call them. Their fees are great. Their payouts are over 1% to you. It doesn't go through a grid, so you're not going to get 60, 70, 80% of 1%. You're going to get all of that 1% or a little over 1%. And the fees are very reasonable. And we specialize in working with folks to help them get their 65 if they haven't already got it. We think there's a lot of opportunity there for you, and we put our money where our mouth is there by putting the resources in place to make it easy for you to get your Series 65, or as easy as we can. So give your sales director a call and have them refer you over to that team. They'll walk you through the process, see if it's a good fit for you. That's about a 15-minute call to see if that might be something that you want to take advantage of. Again, the number 800-255-5055. Okay, now let's talk a little about Dave Pemper. So Dave is the coach of, he works with Lazarus Coaching, and he's the founder of Lazarus Coaching, and he has been part of that crew for us for about 7 years, and he and his team do a great job, and they have for that whole period of time in working with our producers. But I would say that we've kind of put that thing on steroids here over the last 4 or 5 years by adding Social Security seminars, by adding Retirement Boss Radio, practice management, Social Security training. These are all things that are very, very valuable to our producers that are made available to them at as minimal a cost or no cost whenever possible as we're able to do that, because we know how valuable and beneficial it is, and we know that you're going to appreciate it for years to come. So we really appreciate the relationship that we have with Dave and his team at Lazarus Coaching. They've done a great job. Dave himself has been in the business since the early 80s, done 550 or more seminars, public seminars at this point, been doing radio for 25 years plus now. The Retirement Boss Radio is really super timely right now. Hopefully we'll have a minute to talk about that here today, because we're getting better response rates than what we would ever have expected to see. And of course, advertising on the radio is a little bit cheaper right now because they're struggling for advertisers through the pandemic. So great time to be involved in radio. So but we're going to spend most of the time today talking about Social Security claiming, some of the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, and whether that can be a really beneficial part of your business. I think at the end of the webinar, you'll see that no doubt that there's a lot of opportunity for you just by adding Social Security expertise to what you offer. So I'm going to turn it over to the coach, Dave Pimper. Dave will walk you through a few things. There'll be a couple of polls that will pop up here. If you have any questions, certainly type them in, and let's get rolling here with the coach.
Hey, Steve, thank you very much. I appreciate the kind introduction. My name is Dave Pimper, and I'm a producer just like you are. I am searching for business and searching for leads just like you are. And I think what's interesting, and I just came out of an appointment. I was done about 15 minutes ago, but that one actually came from Retirement Boss Radio, but the question he had geared around Social Security, and we just worked with $125,000 of his money just did the paperwork this morning. So what happens is that I want to let you know that in the not just in the pandemic time, but getting in front of qualified prospects, not just leads, but an actual prospect, someone who wants an appointment with you, is extremely important. I cannot tell you what an impact Social Security claiming has made, not just on my production, but on a lot of people with IAMs who I've coached or coached up or marketed around that Social Security format. This is a pretty interesting information. It says most retirees get little advisor help on Social Security. It's so true, by Sarah O'Brien from CNBC. I'm going to read this. A majority of older Americans get no professional advice about a key part of retirement planning, Social Security, even if they work with a financial advisor, a recent study concluded. I did a piece of business actually yesterday also, and the main reason they wanted to see me was it was through an inheritance, and it was a client of mine. But I went back in my notes, and you know where they came from? A Social Security workshop originally, 7 years ago. And now they're doing more business. They're doing another $300,000 with me from an inheritance from her mother. But it came from Social Security. I would say 30, 35, maybe even 40% of the business that I do has some kind of gearing around Social Security. If you're working the pre-retired crowd or just retired crowd, and you don't really understand Social Security, shame on you. You should. It's a majority part of their income coming in retirement is from Social Security. I think it's very, very important to know that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back in time a little bit. Get a load of this. This comes from Christy Bieber from Simply Wise on an article. I saw this online, and then I printed it off, and I copied it word for word. But it says a Social Security test only 1 in 300 seniors could ace, get all 5 questions correct. So it says, how about you, the financial advisor or the agent? I got them all right, but let's see if you can get them all right here, okay? So we're going to take a 5-question quiz, and take it with me. Now it does say, and I'm going to read this because I think it's important. Recently, Americans between the ages of 60 and 70 were asked 5 crucial questions about Social Security. Only 1 in 300 answered them correctly, according to the website SimplyWise. They say this is a major problem, and I agree. People in this demographic group must make important decisions about their benefits, and they need to know the answers to all the questions to make the right choices. Here are the 5 questions that stumped older Americans along with the correct answers. So here we go. We'll see how you do, okay? All right. Question number 1. To maximize your monthly Social Security checks, at what age must you claim the benefits? To maximize your monthly Social Security checks, at what age must you claim benefits? Do you know the answer to that? Here we go. Write down the answer. Well, most people would say full retirement age, but that's incorrect. To maximize your benefit, you need to wait to 70. The correct answer is 70. So you get a full benefit at full retirement age, but you get the maximum benefit, the 8% delayed retirement credits if you work to 70. So that's the first question. Age 70 is the correct answer. Second question. What's the earliest age you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? What's the earliest age you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? Write down your answer. Here we go. 60, not 62, 60. Only 9% of people, seniors, knew that. Next question. Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for a spousal benefit? Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for spousal benefits? Write it down. Here we go. Yep, you do. So you can't get half of your spousal benefit unless that spouse is taking their benefit. Okay? Can divorced spouses receive a spousal benefit? Can divorced spouses receive a spousal benefit? Yes or no? The answer is yes if 4 stipulations are met. And I'm going to say you get this. If you guess yes, first of all, you're still in the running on this question. But now you got to guess 2 of the 4 parameters or stipulations have to be met to get that divorced spouse benefit. You need 2 of the 4. So can you guess 2 of the 4? Here's what they are. Ready? First of all, you need to have married at least 10 years or longer. That's a stipulation. You're currently unmarried, not the ex, but you are currently unmarried taking the benefit. Your ex is at least 62. The divorce happened at least 2 years or longer ago. If you answered yes in 2 of the 4, I'm going to give you a correct answer. Okay? And then here's the last one. Are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Yes or no? You got a 50-50 chance. So if you're divorced and your ex dies, can you get that benefit? Here we go. Yes, you can. You got to guess the 2 stipulations. Now, you're not really smart because we just went through those. But if you guess 2 of them, then I'll give it to you. Only 38% of people answered yes, and the stipulations are the same. You're currently unmarried. Your marriage lasted 10 years. Your ex is at least 62. And the last thing is that your divorce was at least 2 years or longer. See how you did on that. If you didn't get all 5, then there's 3 different ways you can learn Social Security. You can get coached up on Social Security. 3 ways from us. 2 are included in the marketing program. One is Social Security claiming seminars, whether it be virtual or in person. And the second one is Retirement Boss Radio, to be a radio show host in your local community. The third way is just a la carte and get Social Security claiming from myself. So we'll talk more about that here as we go on. This comes from Jana Heron from the USA Today. It's an excerpt. This is word for word again. I think it's powerful stuff. The article reads the headline, "Doing this one thing with your Social Security could mean losing $100,000 in retirement." 100,000. Bullet point 1 says, how much does claiming Social Security at the wrong time cost you? Bullet point 2, retirees will lose an average of $111,000 in income per household over their lifetime because they took Social Security benefits at the wrong time. Third bullet point, overall, only 4% of retirees took Social Security at the financially optimal age. Is that wild? They lose $111,000 of household income over a lifetime. Why? Because only 4% found out when the best time for them to take Social Security to maximize their benefit. That's Social Security Administration office cannot give advice. They can say what your highest benefit is right now, but not in the future. They can't future scenario plan for you. I do. We can. I can teach you Social Security. So important. All right. So let's just take real quickly kind of a stroll down memory lane with Social Security. It was started by Franklin Delano Roosevelt with the Social Security Act in August of 1935, 85 years ago. First check was five years later. Tied to May Fuller for over $22. 65 was the only age you could take Social Security when it came out. And the average age of longevity was only 62. Get a load of those odds. Boy, have they changed. Then in 1961, you could take it early at a reduced amount. And then later on, you could wait longer than full retirement age to get a bigger amount. In 1975, cost of living allowances started. In 2021, there'll be 1.3%. That's inflation. 1.3%. This year it was 1.6%. Last year it was 2.8%. Year before 2%. Last 10 years 1.9%. Last 50 years, or from 1975, it's about 3.5%. If you ask the Social Security tax, it depends. It depends if you make enough income. If you're above certain tax brackets, 50% will be taxed. That happened in 83 under Ronald Reagan. In 1993 under Bill Clinton, 85 could be taxed if you're in a certain bracket. The last major reform was in 2015 by that Bipartisan Budget Act. That's when they did away with file and suspend, and they phased out also, but a longer term restricted application. Almost 60% of retirees count their Social Security as a major source of income. If you're working with pre-retireds or just retireds, why would you not know Social Security inside and out? You should. Very, very important. So here's Social Security College 101. There's 3 dates or times that are important to Social Security. There's the date you get your full benefit, depending on when you're born, age 66 to 67. When you can start your first benefit at a reduction of 25 or 30%, depending on your age, at age 62. And remember that test question? What age can you maximize your benefit? If you wait to 70. And that's when you get your delayed retirement credits after full retirement age each year till 70 of 8%. Pretty big deal. I love this. Social Security can have a huge value, but claiming at your right time is paramount. Not the right time or a right time, but the right time. I ask lots of times in my seminars, do you think Social Security ran a deficit or a surplus last year? It ran a surplus. Most people say deficit because that's what they hear on the news from the politicians. They want to scare you. Yeah, a $3 billion surplus. Off of $1 trillion, $3 billion, there's a $3 billion surplus. Now, will it eventually go bankrupt? Yes, it will. Social Security Trust Fund will go bankrupt, but that doesn't mean that your benefit goes bankrupt. There's a difference. They, the Social Security trustees, look like somewhere between the year of 2030 and 2035. So that's from 9 to 14 years. The trust fund, unless there's changes to it, will go belly up. But how is Social Security funded? By the payroll taxes. 89% is by payroll taxes. The other 11% is split pretty much evenly between taxation and interest on the bonds or the IOUs that are in that trust fund right now. The trust fund is just for a cushion. It should be covered by payroll taxes. Okay, so we got to do something to it to firm it up or to shore it up in the next 10 to 14 years. And I'm in favor personally of increasing the full retirement age. If it's 67, if you're born 1960 or later now, full retirement age is 67. Who cares? I mean, if I ask my kid, hey, I'm going to raise your Social Security to 67 to 70 for the full retirement age, he doesn't care. He doesn't think he's going to get it anyway. So if you're a Republican, probably you're going to be looking at ages, and if you're a Democrat, maybe a little more on the taxation. There probably will be some type of compromise between the two. Yeah, that's what I would think. But there will be some changes. It's a political hot potato. Here's the facts on Social Security. It is a pay-as-you-go system. It's paid by payroll taxes. The 6.2% you pay, the 6.2% your employer pay. I thought it used to be unfair myself being self-employed all these years, but we pay both ends of it, 6.2 and 6.2, 12.4%. That's what funds Social Security. Does the U.S. borrow from the trust fund? Yeah. Special issue government bonds are purchased, and then the government, they basically borrow against all of those bonds. They take those bonds and they put IOUs from the government in its place. And that's why people say it's a Ponzi scheme, because there's nothing hard that backs Social Security Trust Fund. There's not gold or silver, or the bonds themselves are not there. But the IOUs from the U.S. government are. And why it's not a Ponzi scheme, first of all, there's never been a payment missed with Social Security in the full 85 years of its existence. And the second thing is, what backs the American dollar? Does gold, does silver? No. Do bonds? No. The full faith and credit of the U.S. government. The same thing that backs Social Security. So if you go to the grocery store and they won't accept cash because it's no good anymore, then you might start having concern about your Social Security, but I'm not going to until then. So let's kind of figure out how, in simplistic way, of how your benefit is figured. First of all, you got to have 40 quarters of coverage. 40 quarters of coverage. Now, each quarter, if you make $1,410, you can get a quarter of coverage. The most quarters you can have in a year is 4. You can't have any more than 4. That's $5,640. If you make $5,640 in a year, which you could easily do by a limited part-time work, you can get 4 quarters. You need 10 quarters. So you need 10 years of working to get 40 quarters. 95% of every single retired American has a Social Security benefit. So they're going to look at how big those quarters were. They're going to look at your earnings over your working career, and they're going to take your highest 35 inflation-adjusted years, and it's called AIME, AIME, and it's an average, a kind of a complicated average that we've got software that easily figures it out. But that's how much your benefit's going to be. And then if there's cost of living, remember from 75, there's only been 3 years where there hasn't been a COLA, 2010, 2011, and 2016. That's how you figure up your benefit. Don't you love that dog? A long-haired dachshund with the birthday cap, and he's got a bone tie on. Yep. Full retirement age, FRA. A lot of acronyms. 2,700 rules when it comes to Social Security claiming. Ridiculous. Do I know them all? Nope. But do I know all the important ones? I do. The important ones I do. If you're born from 43 to 54, your full retirement age is 66. I was born in 55. So I jump up 2 months. If I was born in 56, up 4 months. It jumps up 2 months, ratchets up to 1960 or later. Your full retirement age is 67. A newborn born today, the full retirement age is 67. That's when you get your full benefit. Now, here's what happens is, if you apply before full retirement age, which by far the majority of people do, about 70% of all people, all the human beings in the United States that take Social Security, they claim before full retirement age at a reduction. And you can see there, if you claim at 62, you just reduce 25%. If your full retirement age is 67, there's a 30% reduction to take early, and that's for the rest of your life. If you wait to full retirement age, you get the full benefit. How about you wait later, which I'm doing? I want to wait. Unless my health gets bad, I'm going to wait until 70 because I'm guaranteed an 8% raise every year after I turn full retirement age. So my full retirement age is 66 years and 2 months. If I wait to 67 years and 2 months, I get 8% guaranteed. Wait another year, 8% guaranteed. Another year, 8%. Working, and Nicola's on top of that. Another 1 or 2%, so 9 or 10% was what you're averaging. Where can you get that guaranteed from the U.S. government? Can't. Where can you get that from an income writer? You can't. It's one of the greatest annuities of all time, guaranteed by the government with inflation adjusted. It's a great benefit. The next 4 slides, I'll tell you right now, if you really understand completely the next 4 slides. So we talked about individual benefit. That's important. But then spousal benefit, divorce benefit, survivor benefit, restricted application. If you know those 5 areas of expertise with Social Security claiming, that's really all you need. 85-90% of your questions will arise from one of those 5 topics. So we talked about the individual benefit. If you take early, it's reduced. If you wait longer, it's increased. If you take as early as 62, you want to take by 70, that's maximizing your benefit, as from our questionnaire that we had in the very beginning. So here's what happens. PIA, another acronym, stands for primary insurance amount. Dave's PIA is $2,400 and Amy's PIA is $1,000. They both take. Say they're full retirement age. They both take. Dave gets $2,400. Amy has the option. The lower benefited spouse gets the option of taking all of theirs. It's gender neutral. Makes no difference if it's husband or wife. All of theirs or half of their spouse, whichever is higher. All of hers is $1,000. Half of Dave's is $1,200. What's more, $1,000 or $1,200? $1,200. So she gets how Social Security looks at it. She gets $1,000 for her benefit, and then she gets a $200 top up. Now, one of the questions we had in the very beginning was, can you take a spousal benefit if the spouse is not taking? Well, let's just use this example. Let's say Dave's PIA, primary insurance amount, which is the full retirement amount at full retirement age. He gets $2,400. Let's say, though, he wants to wait until 70 to take his, and Amy takes hers at 66. Her primary insurance amount is $1,000. Now she doesn't have the option of taking half of Dave's because Dave never took his. She can only take her benefit. When can she jump up to Dave's? She can jump up to Dave's when Dave takes his. Well, he's going to take his at the age of 70. She'll get a $200 pop-up. She can't get part of the delayed retirement credits. She can only participate in the individual amount. Okay? That's when she could do it 4 years later. So that is spousal benefits. Let's talk about divorce spouse. Remember, I call it the triple play plus 1 or 4 stipulations to have this. You have to, marriage had to at least last 10 years or longer. Your spouse is currently divorced. You're currently unmarried from your divorce. Your ex is at least 62, and your marriage, the divorce has been 2 years or longer. If that's the case, you know what you can do? You can use your divorced ex-spouse for Social Security claiming as if you're still married to them. Well, why is that important? Because married couples have many more options when it comes to positive Social Security claiming strategies than a single person. Pretty darn cool. Many of those options are never taken. The individual benefit is done automatically. The spousal benefit is done automatically. Divorced spouse benefits have to be asked for. I always say it's biblical. If you ask, you receive. If you don't ask, you're not going to receive it. Okay? Really important. And then survivor benefits. Let me tell you what happened. With survivor benefits, let's say Dave's benefit is $2,000 and Amy's her benefit is $1,200, and Dave dies. Yeah, the guy normally dies first. 75-80% of the time, if they're the same age, the guy dies first. Amy can either keep her benefit or she can jump up to Dave's. In this case, it's going to be $800 in her advantage to drop hers and jump up to the $2,000. The interesting thing is that you have to ask for it. It's not done automatically. You've got to go to Social Security, and you've got to be able to show them that you were married from a marriage certificate, that there's a death certificate, that the spouse died, and the Social Security number of the deceased. Those are the three things that you need, and then you're able to get that higher death benefit. I had a lady at one of my very first Social Security workshops in Fremont at Keene Memorial Library. She comes in and she says in this very stern voice, "Mr. Pimper." And I love it when old people call me Mr. Pimper. She was like 73. At that time, I was probably 55, 56. But she says, "You said that in the workshop something that really disturbed me." I said, "Well, what is that?" She said, "You said that if you're married and your spouse dies, and that spouse has a higher benefit than you, that you could jump up to that higher benefit. Let yours go and jump up." I said, "That's exactly right." And just kind of school marm, she says, "Well, I was told you couldn't do that." And I said, "Well, who told you that?" And she said, "My brother." And I bring this up in workshops because I say, don't trust your brother's knowledge on Social Security claiming, or your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your pastor, your priest, your rabbi. Yeah, don't trust them. This isn't a hobby for me. This is what I do. And this is why I think it's so important for everyone on, which we got a gazillion people on this webinar today, all over the U.S. If you don't know Social Security, learn it. And we're going to give you 3 ways you can do that. 2 are paid for. 1's a la carte out of your pocket. But learn Social Security. If you don't learn it, I will tell you what, you're losing business to another advisor. Coordinating spousal benefits. This is complicated. This happened, it's been around for a long time, since like 2000 or 2001. But in 2015, the Bipartisan Budget Act is phasing it out. Now, here's what happens. First of all, you have to be born before January the 2nd of 1954. Not both, just the one claiming it. Not both spouse and the other spouse, but the main spouse taking it, the older spouse, has to be born before that. So that time's kind of only a couple, 3 years left on that. But here's how it works. And I know this is complicated, but you should really understand it, because, boy, it's a huge benefit if it works. In this case, Dave and Amy are both 66. You don't have to both be 60. Just one person has to be full retirement age. But anyway, let's say they're both 66. Dave's primary insurance amount, PI, is $2,400. Amy's PI insurance amount is, for Social Security benefit, is $1,000. Amy files for her. She has to file to do this. Dave wants to let his grow. Well, that's fine. Everything's just like we talked about before. His is going to grow the 8% delayed retirement credits. But if he restricts his application, he kind of fakes out, he fools Social Security Administration, where he starts his, then stops his, lets his grows and gets the 8%. But in the eyes of the Social Security Administration, you know what happens is he has taken his benefit. Now, if he's taking his benefit, now all of a sudden he can go in and he can ask for a spousal benefit. With restricted, you reach out and get half of your spouse's. So in this scenario, Amy takes hers, gets her $1,000 at 66. Dave goes in and restricts his and let his grow the 8% delayed credits. And he goes out and reaches out, because Amy started hers. He gets a spousal benefit, which is always half of your spouse's $1,000, which is $500. He gets $500. So $1,500 is coming in, 1,000 from Amy, 500 from the spousal, and Dave's benefits growing, 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 growing. He turns us on to 70. How cool is that? Free money. That $500 a month or 6,000 a year, free money. 2 years, 12,000. 3 years, 18,000. Free money. Get a load of this. I saw a statistic. 0.7 of all the people in the United States where restricted application would benefit them financially for Social Security have exercised it. 0.7, less than 1%. Unbelievable. And then with even another twist, then when Dave turns 70 and turns his on, now they lose the $500. But you know what happens now? Now Amy can go in and take her spousal benefit. All of hers at 66 or half a Dave's at 66. You remember we did that other one? Yeah. She gets, so instead of $500, but at least there's $200. There's only a $300 of lesser money coming in. A lot of moving parts, a lot of spinning dishes on that scenario. You know what the Social Security personnel can't do when you talk to them on the phone, over the net, in person? They cannot go in and scenario plan for you. They can give you your largest benefit right now. They can't really even go in and tell you about restricted application if it helps you, because that's in the future. They cannot give you advice. Unbelievable. When I got in the business, I called my CPA, I called my lawyer, I called my banker, all 50 plus. One is retired now. None of them knew much about Social Security. Where do you refer them to for advice? They all said the Social Security Administration, and unbelievably, they cannot give advice. Wild. Get a load of this right from their program operational manual for the Social Security trustee, from the Social Security Administration. Look at D. Provide enough information so that claimants can make informed choices, but do not give advice. Is that wild or what? I always say consider all your income streams, and I believe there's 5 income streams when it comes to Social Security claiming. But Social Security is not a standalone income stream. It's how it complements the other streams. Social Security is the most flexible, usually, of all income streams, claiming at your right time. I always say not the right time or not a right time, but at your right time, because it'll be different than your neighbor. And don't forget about the survivor benefit. Don't be selfish. That survivor benefit is big. The reason I'm letting mine grow, well, it's a bigger benefit, but I'll probably die first. My wife can jump up to that much bigger benefit. What are the 5 pillars of income? Wages, pensions, income-producing assets. So we're right here getting every 401k, IRA, Roth, 403b, thrift savings, rental property, cash values on life insurance, brokerage accounts, CDs, annuities, everything. But then how Social Security complements that. You know, as we're finishing here, and then Steve's going to open up for questions. If you have a question, type it in. If we didn't have so many people, I would open up the lines. We've got so many people on the lines with us today. But you know, when to claim your Social Security benefit? Well, there's just so many different angles. I mean, there's your own benefit, a spousal benefit, a coordinating spousal benefit, a survivor, divorce. I mean, their health history, your other income sources, on and on and on. So if this has tweaked your interest of saying, you know, I've always looked at this where it wasn't a money maker. I mean, how much money do you make per se from knowing Social Security? Nothing. You can't, unless you charge through your IAR for counseling of Social Security claiming. No, you don't make money. But uncovering all of those assets, because that's what you need to do to find out when their best time is. They maybe need to take an income from those assets and let their Social Security grow. There's so many things you find out with really finding out when the right time for your client is. But there's 3 ways through IAMS, Insurance Agency Market Service, and Dave Pepper Coaching, you can learn Social Security. You can do it through a seminar program, a Social Security seminar program, whether it be face-to-face, if you're still doing that in your area, public, or whether it's a virtual. My last virtual seminar, I got 21 appointments. I've written 3 pieces of business off of that so far, and I'm not done. Yeah, virtual, believe it or not. Retirement Boss Radio, if you're in a town of 125,000 or more, It's normally AM. It could be FM, but normally AM. But we're going in and having radio show hosts. This has been going on for 2.5 years. Opened up times for a little over a year. But we've had some really, really strong lead generation, appointment setting services, and I'll coach you Social Security there with both of those, part of the program. And then the last is, if you want to just say, hey, I don't need a marketing program, I'm in front of enough people, but I want to learn Social Security, yeah, it's $200 a session for 4 sessions. The first 2 are 3 sessions, seminar and Retirement Boss Radio, but there's 4 sessions. If you pay for it, it's $800 to go through and really, really learn Social Security. That means you got to sell about a $10,000 piece of business because of the Social Security background that you paid for to get. And then you can always use me after that as a source too. Okay? So I'll tell you right now, there's different ways to go on in and to use Social Security and to really understand it, but getting off of dead center is just so important. Steve, are you there? I hope he is.
Of course I
But
am.
he's going to go. Yeah, good. Well, I can't forward this for some reason, but once you put up the slide, if they'd like to get information on Social Security claiming, if you mark yes, then I'm going to go in and have either Lisa or Michelle contact you. We'll get a good time for 20-25 minutes on your schedule and mine, but just talk about what you're doing and see if Social Security can make be pivotal, to really help increase your production, whether it be through seminars or through radio or just through a la carte. There's a procrastination slide there, and it isn't just, it isn't just, what I want to say, it isn't just a marketing program. It isn't just learning Social Security. It's putting it into action, and I help people go and do that. And I tell you, having that information on Social Security, it's impressive to people. A couple, 3 weeks ago, I had a person say to me, a pretty good size account that I got, and this one didn't come in because of Social Security, but I did give him a sheet of Social Security which he asked questions on, an analysis, and he said, hey, I'm really impressed. He said, my advisor, I asked him, and he didn't know. He said I should talk to my accountant or talk to the Social Security office. Well, most accountants don't know either. It's a really plus to know Social Security. So, Steve, as people are marking yes or no, and hopefully a lot of them mark yes, did we have any questions, or is there some discussion that we need to go over about the information covered today?
Well, there's a lot of questions about radio for some reason. I know you mentioned it here, but we've got a number of people asking about radio. And I did at the beginning of the webinar, maybe before you joined us, Dave, I did mention that we've had some higher than expected and higher than normal response rates on that. And it's been lower than expected cost because radio is kind of struggling to get advertisers right now, and we kind of fall into that.
Right.
So you may just can you give us the quick on Retirement Boss Radio and how it works, and I will just, before Dave does that if you want to learn about your specific area, mark yes on that, and we'll have Nicole or Lisa will get you time set up with Dave, and they can walk through that. That call, by the way, is about a 15 to 20 minute call, depending on what your questions are, and you're going to get some great stuff from it. Regardless, Dave loves helping producers, as he would tell you. That's he doesn't do this for money, I wouldn't say, but he does really enjoy helping folks out. So if you have anything that you want to discuss with Dave, mark yes on that poll. And Dave, can you just give the quick on Retirement Boss Radio, what your experience has been, or maybe what your experience with some of your guys has been?
Yeah, you bet. Retirement Boss Radio is a show that I put together with IAMS' help, the FMO, and we marketed through IAMS. I tested it for about a year before we rolled it out to the group. But it's an hour recorded show that really our target is from age of 50 to 70. And it's really kind of the pre-retired or just retired. That's really who our target is. We do a lot of rollover business. I do a lot of in-service non-hardship withdrawal business, the 59.5 rule business out of 401ks and 403bs. And what happens is that there's a co-host. So we have a production company that puts it together. It's recorded. We actually record for a half an hour, but it's an hour show. We always repeat a second show, so it saves our production costs. But we've got a media buyer that goes out and buys radio time. He's done it for 23 years. He's great. Over 400 current programs per week that he's purchased time for. He's just great at what he does. Very easy to work with. Real negotiator when it comes to best pricing. And then we got a call center that takes all of our calls, and we have an electronic calendar that you give every Friday to the inbound call center. And it's a high end inbound call center, and they set up the appointment right on your calendar. It just works beautifully. And so what happens, all of that together for your area, a lot of people won't look at radio because of the cost, but you know what? We've had it as low as 2,500, and it hardly ever gets over 5,000. Most of the time, it's probably $3,500 to $4,000 is the cost all in. Say 3,500 to 4,500, and to be on the hour, to be a celebrity in your local area, it's really, really strong. I'm having 3-4 appointments every single week, and most of those are face to face. Some are Zoom, some are on the telephone, but really, really strong. So with that program, about 30% or 35% of our appointments set up around Social Security. I coach you with Social Security. If you don't know it, I coach you up on that. And of course, you can certainly use me. I also do Retirement Boss Radio coaching in itself, three sessions, but I do 3 sessions with Social Security too. So it's if you don't have, if you're not in front of a lot of people, you want to learn Social Security. What a great way to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Absolutely. And that radio show is recorded. The startup costs or the startup materials are relatively low cost, and you do that recording right at home. So hopefully that answers those questions about that. You do have a sidekick, and that works kind of your Ed McMahon that works with you on that radio show. Dave, you mentioned your digital seminar, and I know that a lot of folks have struggled in the digital world with workshops and trying to make those work. In fact, we did. I would agree. I mean, it wasn't an easy nut to crack, but we got it cracked. So you may want to take a moment and talk about that because I've got a lot of people asking about face-to-face seminars right now and how that works. And certainly we can talk about that, but in many areas, I think that's going to be a little tougher to do over the next month or two, or as this year closes out. So give the folks what your experience on the digital workshop side.
Yeah, since I had never done a digital workshop, it was different. I mean, I didn't really understand, and I did 3 of them and had just minor success. But we really put it together on this last one and had 21 appointments. I mean, it's fairly amazing. And of those 21 appointments, 16 of them were face to face, and that's how much people are yearning to learn Social Security. So we've really got a good system right now. And if you need to get, you know what, unless you're just extremely busy right now, most people aren't during the pandemic. They're trying to find ways to get in front of people. Certainly, Mark, yes, let's talk. Let's just give you an idea. And we're talking about all in, guaranteed 30 people to show up at the virtual. We're talking $3,600 all in for an all-in price. And that's guaranteeing that 30 households will be, on the line, on the webinar or virtual seminar. So, we would love to talk with you. We've had some really, really good success. I'm still working, my appointments, from that workshop that I had 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, Mark, yes, and we can certainly talk on that.
Thanks, Dave. And I see that almost everyone has voted. We've got a little time here. We've got to answer a couple more questions. So, and don't be afraid to vote no. If you don't have interest, that's okay. I notice that everyone has voted yes, it's voted, and we've had most people vote, which is great. But if you're not interested, let us know that as well. It helps us. So we got a question from Robert, and he said, if the husband files for Social Security at age 62 and learns about the spousal benefit after his full retirement age, can he file against a prior spouse's benefits after 15 years of marriage when he is over his FRA?
Sure.
Or is the ability to file negated because he has filed before his FRA?
No. So no, it doesn't make any difference if you're before or after. For just spousal benefits, he would just call them or stop in. A lot of the places are not open right now because of the pandemic, but he absolutely can go in and get the spousal if he if he is able to get it. Okay, remember the spousal benefit is always half. So if the spousal benefit, if your benefit was 800 and your spouse's was 2,000, well, you could get half of 2,000, 1,000. You're going to have a $200 a top up for spousal, and then because as long as he's over full retirement age, if he does that, he can go back and request a retro benefit of 6 months. So if it was $200 he lost out on, he could go on in and get $1,200 for 6 months of retro benefit. So yes, you're able to do that, no problem.
Perfect. And Mary, I'm not sure if I understand your question. Her question is there a printout for Social Security? Is there any great books to read for Social Security? So she might be talking about like how to maximize your Social Security printouts, like the software that we have with Impact. Dave, you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. If you get one of the either the seminar, Retirement Boss Radio, if you go in with the 4 coaching sessions a la carte, you do get 3 months worth of free Social Security software and analysis, and then it's about $30 a month after that, but that's up to you whether you take that out or not. It's very valuable for me. I've had software for the 10 years. For the 10 years that I've showed Social Security, I've been doing this for 40 years. In a quarter of that time, I've really been emphasizing around Social Security claiming. So there certainly is that. And what happens is that do you have to show everybody a report? No, but every person that talks about Social Security that goes on to a second appointment, meaning I found money, I give a report to everybody because it's so impressive. That is what I do. I'm trying to impress the person, because if they're impressed with Social Security, they're going to impress usually with what you have from the investment or the annuity standpoint, insurance standpoint.
You bet. Another question from Laura. What about if the claim is after age 70? Can you actually still get the spousal benefit?
So let's see if I know what she's talking about. So it's husband and wife. Let's say that the spouse has a $800 benefit and claim that. Yeah, absolutely. If they claim at 70 and if there's a spousal benefit, they're entitled to it. As long as they can't get a spousal benefit until they claim. So if they waited to 70, that's when the spousal benefit would come into play. Absolutely, no problem.
Okay. And then there's a couple questions about being able to see this at a later time. So you all are going to get a link, and we have recorded this event. You'll get a link to it. You can certainly go back and listen to a portion of it if you'd like. Or again, I would recommend, it looks like almost everyone has requested an appointment, which is great with Dave. As I mentioned, you're going to get great information. Yeah, it is good. You're going to get great information. He'll answer any questions that you have. And so it'll be really beneficial, 15 or 20 minutes of time that you can spend together. So I recommend highly that you give a yes, only because I know I've had so many of our folks, whether they decide to go ahead with radio or seminars or just Social Security training, but get some benefit that can be a changer for them in their business when they talk with Dave. So I highly recommend that phone appointment. If you want to get a phone appointment with Dave, you better mark yes quick, because I'm going to close that poll out here in just a moment while I try and get that last question answered. And you know what? Actually, the other questions are actually the answers. People are answering the questions, which is great. And it looks like we got a pretty smart group here, Dave. I'm looking at their answers, and almost everybody was right. So there's a whole bunch of them here. So thank you all for taking the time to answer those questions. I'm pleased that we got a pretty well-educated group here, it looks like. So good stuff. Is there anything, Dave, that you want to say before we close up here today?
Yeah, I think Social Security claiming, people look at as if it's so complicated, at the age of 50, 60, 70, man, I can never learn that. You can. I did it, and I did it without any help. If I had help from someone who knew the business like I did, it would have been easier. There's some work that's involved. There's some education that you've got to read, but probably 3-4 hours a week for 3-4 weeks, you'll know a lot more than you know right now. But implement it into your practice, especially a lead generation or an appointment setting generation of seminars and or Retirement Boss Radio could make a big difference too. A lot of people during this pandemic are hurting with production. and I'm actually up this year over last year. Not by much, but I am up some. But I have a consistent flow of appointments, and that helps immensely. So I'd love to talk with you. If you have like the last chance to mark yes, but all the people that did mark yes, I'm really looking forward to talking with you in the next week or two, and just have a really great production for the week here.
Dave, so if somebody feels like they've gotten bad advice or bad information, what's the best way regarding Social Security? What's the best way to get it confirmed? I mean, certainly they could call you and have a call with you to see whether that's right or wrong. I've got a couple of people that have said, "Hey, I've got a client that's gotten some bad information." How would you go about counseling them to make sure that they get the correct information?
Well, you have to know Social Security, because if you don't know it, then you don't know if it's bad information or good information. They can certainly call me, and as you know, Steve, I'm pretty darn good at, unless I'm in an appointment, I take coaching people or people that have from calling because of our marketing through the insurance agency marketing services IAMS. I call them right back, and I'm very open. I mean I'm busy each day with appointments, but I certainly am calling my clients and my prospects and coaching clients between there. So I would say just call me, bounce it off of me, so you can get the right answer. But the best thing is I can fish for you, or you can learn to fish. And when you learn to fish, then you know it yourself.
All
You don't
day.
have to ask somebody else.
Yep.
That makes it a very nice situation. You're in control then. That's what I would recommend. Takes a little time, a little effort, a little education, but believe me, the payoff is huge.
Great stuff as always, Dave. Thanks for taking some time out of your schedule. I know with your
Hmm.
recent digital workshops I know you've got a lot of appointments right now, which is great. Yeah, but I do appreciate you taking some time out for the group here this morning. Great group, highly educated, it looks like, around Social Security, so that's good. If there's any way that we can help you, rather clearly display that knowledge, whether it's via radio or seminars or digital workshops, I hope you'll let us know that. We'd love to help you with that. We've got some very efficient you've probably seen some of the pricing out there. And, we can do better than that because we don't make money from seminars or radio. We make money from helping you do business. So
That's
it's going
right.
to make a whole different view of what that pricing can be on some of these things. We'd love to help you. We appreciate the fact that you've taken some time today to join us, and we are really biased towards helping people that are wanting to learn more and grow their practice. So whatever we can do to help y'all, I hope you'll give us a call. Let us know. Number here is 800-255-5055. Give me a call. My name is Steve Murray. I'll be glad to connect you with Dave or your sales director regarding anything that we've talked about today. We appreciate your time and look forward to helping you have a great finish to your sales week, your sales year. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.